Hello and welcome to the channel. So Lightroom provides this really nice organizational tool called collections, and it's a way of having photos that are related to, based on some sort of criteria, to be able to quickly be accessed and also to continue to maintain that set of photos as you continue to take more related to that particular topic or set of criteria. So for example, I've made several trips to Route 66 in Arizona. I have a set of photos that I use for various things, whether it's materials for class or materials for the workshop, or even if it's just something to make a slideshow. So here I am in Lightroom, and this is my main catalog that I work with, and you can see there's quite a large number of photos there. And so you might think, well, why don't you just do a search on keywords? And I can certainly do that. So I can put in Arizona and Route 66. When I do that, I can see that I get a set of photos. And when I look at these photos, I start to notice a couple of issues. One is this photo right here, 12, 13, 14, and 11, those are actually Sedona, Arizona. So relatively close to Route 66, but not quite Route 66. The others, as I look through, all look to be from Route 66. And you could say, well, okay, you had contain instead of contains all when you did your keyword search, so there are some other Arizona ones. So let's go and fix that and see what that does. So if I say contain all, now I'm just down to 6, but we saw that there were many more than 6. That means I probably didn't have Route 66 as one of my keywords when I did that. Now I could go back and add that in. That would certainly help. But I could avoid doing all that simply by creating a collection. And just to show you, if I come down and look at my set of collections, you can see I do have quite a bit. So I do use this feature quite often, actually. And I do have a collection called Route 66 in Arizona. And if you recall, you might not have noticed, 72 photos came up when I did that search where I just had the word contain as opposed to contain all. And there were some that were not, but it was a very small set. It was actually 4 of them. And we can see here that there's 68. So if I select that, now I can see I've got my Route 66 photos that I've collected over the years. And there's probably some new ones that I could add to this based on a recent trip I took. But it does give me that ability to go there and find those rather quickly. So how do I go about actually adding to a collection? And there's a couple of different approaches that you can use, a couple of different methods. The way I like to do it is I will go and right click or 2-finger click, depending upon if you're using a Mac or using a Windows machine. And there's this option called set as target collection. And so when I do that, notice we get this little identifier, this little plus symbol that tells me that that is a target collection. I can then go back up and look at my library and say, okay, so what are some other photos that I want to add to it? I can come in and look at, see if I have anything here. And so I have several photos, haven't really done much with these. So they've been selected, but haven't been rated yet. But let's go through and just pick a couple. And all I have to do is hit the letter B on the keyboard, and that will go and add that to the collection. If I make a mistake and I hit the letter B again, you can see that it removes it from the target collection. So a few of these that I think I'd like to add. I'll take this one, and this one. This one, I do have a thing for some of these old signs. And so I've got a set or some additional ones. I can also go through and select some photos And so in this case, I have some things from Goffs, California, and I think what I'll do, this isn't quite Arizona, but it is right across the border. So just to kind of show how you might do that, I might select a few of these photos. And so the other option is you can just come down, and if you right click, you can select add selected photos to this collection, and then they show up in there. So now if I come down in, I can see that I've got those that have been added. Realistically, I don't really want to have those last ones in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and see this little dot right here. If I just click on that dot, those all go away. Since they're all selected, they get deleted. So now I'm back to my original set. So that's how we go about adding things to a collection. So how do we create collections, and how can we organize them? And if we scroll through here, we'll find that there's one up top. Actually, there's several that have these little container boxes. And these are collection sets. And if we look at Photographer's Playground, we see that there's one in there. And if you've watched previous videos, you'll know that one of the things that I run here locally for one of the camera clubs is something called Photographer's Playground. We go to different places. And I have one of the outings identified here, but I would like to get more of them in there. And so if I come up to this plus symbol, I have a choice of creating a collection, a smart collection, or a collection set. A collection set gives me one of those container folders. Collection allows me to create a collection, which I can have either inside a collection set or just on its own. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And it pops up a dialog box, and I'm going to call this Hastings. And I'm going to say inside a collection set, and it's going to show me the different ones that I have. Say Photographer's Playground. Not going to include selected photos. But notice when I did have that, it did give me the option to make new virtual copies. And that's kind of a nice feature if you're going to be doing something like cropping them to a specific size, maybe for video, maybe for printing. And so just one more additional benefit that you get from working with collections. I'm going to say set as target collection. So this will set this automatically as my target collection. And I will go ahead and say create. I've got that little designator. Now I will scroll back up and select all photos. And I'm just going to do a search now on Photographer's Playground. And I can see I have a number of different things that have popped up. And when I look at these first ones, I can see I've got several that were in Hastings, so I can actually refine that. And so now I've got my set from Hastings. And so now I can go in and click on these photos and select the B key. I could see that it's added to the collection. And you can see I've got that designator that's popping up to show that it's in a collection. And the other thing to remember is that photos can be in multiple collections. So I may have, as an example, we have some of these here that have kind of stormy background, some pretty dramatic clouds. So maybe I want to have a collection just around clouds, and I could have that as well. It looks like this one was already in there. And so it always gives you that indication that it put it into that. So now if I come down to my collections, I can see for Hastings that there's 15, so I must have missed one in there somewhere. Yep, sure enough, right there. And you can see as soon as I hit that, that number went to 16. So I'm just going to click away from that, and then let's just go in and look at that, and I can see my photos. Another thing that I can do is I can create something called a smart collection. And a smart collection is just based on a set of criteria or a set of rules where it will go and automatically put things into and also remove photos based upon, could be keywords, could be other things in the metadata, could be ratings, rankings, whatever that might happen to be. And as an example, I have this one called minimalism. And if I were to right click or two-finger click on it, I can see I have this option called Edit Smart Collection. And it shows what those rules are. So I want a rating greater or equal to the 5 stars and that it contains the word minimal. So let's take a look at how you go about creating a smart collection. Same process as before. I'm going to come up to this plus symbol. I'm going to say create smart collection this time instead of collection. And it's going to give me this dialog box. I'm just going to call this cheetahs. And I'm not going to put this one in a collection set, just going to leave it where it is. And I'm going to come down, and this is a little confusing. If I want to use keywords, I have to go to other metadata and select keywords. I'm going to say contains. I'm just going to type in cheetah. I'm not sure if I had that plural or singular when I did this. So put that in, and then I only want ones that were taken in Africa. So I will say, just in case I have some that were taken inside of a zoo, as an example, say keywords again, contains, and say Africa. And I want to have a rating of 5 stars. So I just want the photos that I have finished. So just go ahead and click that. And let's go ahead and hit create and see what happens. So it went through, created it, and found 8 photos, at least 8 photos within the catalog. And looks like for whatever reason right now it's not being able to find those, but it's probably because I did some renaming of some of the folders, and that probably tripped it up a bit. So that's how you go about creating a smart collection. Now, one other thing that you may want to do is you may decide that you want to reorganize how you have your collections, or maybe you want to clean it up a little bit. You certainly don't have to have these forever. And so as an example, I created one back when I did the review for the Hanser software. But I really don't need that collection anymore. I did that. And so I can come down into here. I can right click or two-finger click. And as I scroll down, I will see delete. And so I'll go ahead and delete that. And it tells you that photos will remain in your catalog, but and could be referenced in other collections, but this collection itself will just go away. So go ahead and do that. And I can come back and I can find some others as well, perhaps. Or I might decide that maybe there is one that I want to have within an existing collection set, and maybe I don't have that in there right now. It's in the wrong place. So one of the things I could do is I could say, so for night photography, certainly the fire dancers at Hot Sam's probably should be in that collection. So I can just drag that up, drop it up on top there, and now it's located within there. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please go ahead and give it a like. If you'd like to be notified about future videos, go ahead, hit that subscribe button and that little notification bell, and you'll be notified when I post something new. Thanks. Bye.